What is up, guys? We are live on YouTube here. Um, I put it up on Twitter. We're gonna talk a little bit about what it's like for training during this pandemic for this last fight that I had at UFC Fight Night 36. A little bit about what the fight week was like, and we'll go in depth about the mentality and the psychology and obviously the fight itself. Um, Starting with training during the pandemic. So I took this fight on 2 weeks notice. So before this fight was announced, I was trying to do everything I could to be smart, and train by myself and isolate a little bit as much as possible. I was really the only thing I was doing outside of my house was pad work with my striking coach Brian. And most of my workouts were outside in pretty cold weather. Some days not. I was running a lot. I was lifting weights like 3 times a week. I bought an Aerodyne bike. I was doing, sprints on that thing and kind of mixing up circuits downstairs in the basement. Um, there was a lot of home workouts that I was doing that just weren't, my body was reacting differently. I was gaining weight, putting muscle on. I was getting heavier. I checked my weight, when I first thought a fight might be on the table. I was like 164. So I knew right there, I'm like, I'm not going to be able to fight at bantamweight during this pandemic. Like it's just not unless the training goes back to normal. There's probably a very unlikely chance that my weight's going to drop 10 pounds and I'm going to be walking around comfortably at 153, 154 and be able to cut down to bantamweight. So I knew that in my head. So I, told my manager that, you know, so I knew Hunter was supposed to fight somebody in January, I believe the 25th, and he wasn't able to fulfill that fight. The fight fell through, the card fell through, and I knew that he was looking for an opponent now. He was someone who was scheduled to fight, slated to fight, but couldn't fight. So that's a person that I know is desperate to fight. He's been preparing for a fight for who knows how long. So I hit him up on Instagram. I say, Hunter, yo, let's fight at 145. Like I can't make 35, but I'm down to fight you short notice. So he's like, hey, I got someone who's willing to fight me. I'll do it at 145. I don't really want to cut too much weight either during this pandemic. So we kind of agreed and we went to our managers with this proposal and we pushed it, and I kept in touch and he kept in touch and we kind of got the fight done through, Instagram, which was really cool, to be able to get that done. I was really happy with that. You know, he was telling me, my manager's on top of it. He spoke to Sean Shelby. I'm saying, hey, my manager's on top of it as well. I'm waiting to hear back, blah, blah, blah. So all of a sudden, 2 weeks out, my manager's like, Hunter's in at 145. Let's do it. I say, boom, let's go. Let's do this. So I'm waiting for a new deal. I'm waiting for this fight. I was a free agent at the time. So we got a new deal done. I got a 4 fight deal done and we got this fight done. So I knew, man, I wanted to keep momentum. I wanted to build off of my first, win this year in January and keep the ball rolling. I want to fight 4 times this year. So I'm like, man, I'm just so thankful I get to fight during this pandemic and keep my job going and make money and keep this ball rolling and fight again coming off a big victory is important to me. I think momentum is very powerful. So take a sip of the Bumachino real quick. And also, if you come in here, you can leave some questions in the comment section. I'll get to those at the end, or even maybe I'll jump in during. But I have some questions on Twitter as well. I know that. But yeah, um, so we get the fight done. Now I got 2 weeks to prepare. It's crunch time. I gotta start breaking rules now. Right now I'm living with my parents, so that's really the main concern. I know if I go to the gym, I train with people, I gotta come home and be around them. So that was like the main worry. But what could I do? This is my job. So I tried my best to stay away from them, but also I had to get the best training now possible in 2 weeks time. So I hit up Marab Davalishvili, another UFC bantamweight. I saw he was training, so I was like, Marab, let's get some sparring. And the first thing I needed to do was get some hard sparring in to see like where am I at, how do I feel, what's the deal here. So first sparring session, I did well, but I gassed hard. Like, I mean, Marab's a tank, and he'll probably fucking break anybody. But I gassed hard, and I was like really tired in the third or fourth round. We did 5 5-minute rounds, but by the end of it, I was just fucking I was done. And I knew in my head, like, I can't listen to that. I can't allow that to follow me into the fight. That feeling of, man, I might get tired. I might break. I might gas. Like, that was my thoughts on that first sparring session. Like, oh, I thought I was in great shape because of all this cardio and all this running and all this bag work and all this stuff, twice a day training still. It's not the same, man. It's just all different. When you're not in the gym sparring, drilling, doing jujitsu, wrestling, grinding on top of all of that cardio, you're not going to be in peak shape. So I'm like, now I'm starting to worry. I'm like, man, that was I only have 2 sparring sessions to train for this fight. That's it. I'm sparring with Marab. I got that first sparring session done, and then I sparred with him again like 5 days later. Now, granted, I picked up the pad work a little bit. I had a couple of guys that I worked with, 1 or 2 guys. We did like a hard jujitsu session twice a week leading up. And that helped a little bit, because my second sparring session, I only did 3 5s, but I went a little bit harder and did a little bit better. And my gas tank was a little bit better. Still felt tired in the third round, but that's normal. But I knew, like, okay, I might not be in the best shape I ever was in right now. I might not be in peak shape, but one thing I know how to do is fight. I've had 30 pro fights before this fight. I knew if I just go in there, stay cool, calm, calculated, take my time, be patient, I can get the job done. So that was it. 2 sparring sessions, a bunch of pad sessions, some running, and I was leaving for Jacksonville. So yeah, I left for Jacksonville, and you know, there's a lot of voices and doubts and things that try to creep in on up on you and scare you, knowing you're about to go into a hard fight. And in the back of my head, I knew all the facts. I knew, hey, Hunter's probably well prepared for this fight. He's been training since, I don't know, December for a fight in January, maybe even earlier, and now he's fighting me in, you know, May. And how long has this guy been preparing, you know what I mean, to fight somebody? So I had that in my head, but I was like, you know what? Just go in there, stay calm, enjoy the process, have fun. You could beat anybody. And that was what I left to Jacksonville with in my head. And that's how you have to go into these fights. For me, especially. For me, when I go into these fights with all the voices and doubts, like I was saying, like, I talk to myself, tell myself, smile, like, have fun, enjoy this. Just do your best in there and have a good time. Have fun doing this. This is what you love, because when I have fun, I do my best. And that's just the truth. So I knew that going in. So I kept that attitude. I kept that mindset. Now, when we got to Jacksonville, it was interesting, man. Flying during this thing was weird. They got you wearing the masks on the plane and everything, and they kind of got us spread out. But there was a good amount of people on the flight. I was actually kind of surprised. There was the airport wasn't busy, but the flight had like a good amount of people on it where I was like, "Oh wow, I didn't expect this." But nonetheless, they had us wearing the masks, and unless you want to drink or eat something, you take it down, whatever. I don't even know if these masks fucking work. It's a bunch of hoop de la. But anyways, get to Jacksonville, check in with the UFC. Everything's professional. Everyone's got masks on in the hotel. Everyone's kind of split up. They got signs on the floors. They got the testing area. So um first things first, you get like your Reebok kit, you get your stuff, you get your temperature checked first. They make sure, okay, his temperature's good, he's not showing any signs or symptoms. Then you go to the testing area where you got to get your antibody test and your nose swab. Now for me, I was fucking stressed out about this nose swab. I thought, oh my God, I'm more afraid than this than the damn fight. Get this over with. I leaned back, put this thing up my goddamn nose. I don't want to feel this thing, but hey, they put it up there. It wasn't as bad as I thought. It was a lot easier than I thought. So I was like, all right, not too bad. So we got those tests on. The antibody test came back negative, but they, took the nose swab, took 24 hours, I believe. So after the test, you got to go back to your room, kind of isolate for a little bit as much as possible. Just try to stay away from people. Even if you go to your workout room, the hotel was set up so every fighter had their own individual workout rooms. Everything was professional and split up, and I felt a lot safer than, any other show. I know they take safety precautions for everything, but this was like specifics, and it was really well sought out, and they did a good job with keeping us spread out and safe and all that stuff. They sanitized the workout rooms every night. Supposedly, the sauna was in there. You got your own personal sauna. We had the bathtubs in the room. So, if you want to order room service, it was 24 hours. I used trifecta meals, so they came up. So I actually checked in on Sunday for fight week, which was Wednesday, at 154 pounds. So I had gotten my weight down from 164 that time that I checked, which I believe was a week's worth of time, or maybe a week and a half. I got it down to about 156. And so that was just through the hard training. When I started to pick up my training, my body changes, it adapts and it gets down to its natural walk around weight, which for me is about 155 typically. So the cut ended up not being bad at all. And that was a huge thing for me. It was like, if I'm gonna fight at 145, I'm not gonna make this hard on myself and stay heavy and come into fight week at 160 something and have to cut 20 pounds. Like, I'm gonna try to get down as much as possible before I do this water load. So I was only 154, which left me 8 pounds to cut. I'm water loading at that point, so I have a ton of water in me. So that's that. I do the cut. The cut went very smooth for me. I literally didn't feel the same way as 135. It was a big difference in the way that I felt. My stomach usually hurts 135. I'm like, my voice, my vocal cords are all fucked up. Everything's messed up. But and you're drained. You don't really know how much you drain your body. But for me, I felt fresh. Of course, I felt it a little bit. I'm cutting weight, but I felt strong still. I felt like I haven't drained myself 100%. I felt like my brain was still kind of working better, stuff like that. So, and you never know, the detriments of a weight cut until you get in there and fight. I mean, and then still, you can't even really put it onto the weight cut. You can't say, "Oh, I got hit and I lost because of the weight cut." Like, you can never put it on the weight cut. But you know how you felt and you know how it is and you know the differences. So I knew, like, wow, like the next day after the whole weight cut thing, I was like, I feel good, man. I feel strong. Like, I feel fresh. I don't feel like I'm still recovering from something. I don't feel foggy or drained or anything like that. So you get the weight cut over, you refuel, rehydrate. I believe I went in the cage and fought at about 160, 161 pounds, which never fucking happens. I mean, I don't ever even train at that weight except for during this quarantine. So all of this was an anomaly to me. It was just different. Usually I fight at bantamweight, I make 135, and then I get in the cage at about 149 to 152. That's like tops, and that's usually where I'm training at for like 4 weeks out from the fight. 3 weeks out, I'm like 150. So that's what I'm usually used to. So this was a whole new thing for me, and I'm like, what is this going to feel like? What's it going to be like? So now you fast forward to fight day. Wake up, you got those nerves, that pit in your stomach when you wake up. As soon as you get up in the bed, you're like, what the fuck am I doing today? I gotta fight somebody today. This is unreal. So I try my best to calm those nerves down. I read, I meditate, I have my breakfast, I digest, I relax a little bit, I think good thoughts, I think about why I got into this in the first place, I get spiritual a little bit, I pray a little bit, stuff like that. And then, listen to music, whatever, just things that relax you, make you feel like it's a normal day. Once I digest, we go down, we do my pre-fight shakeout, my warm-up. That really helps a lot with the nerves. Kind of move around, get your swag on, go over some details. Nothing too hard. You're just breaking a sweat. You're kind of moving around, just opening the lungs. And I did that. That felt really good. And you know, sometimes when you're doing this, when you're warming up and stuff, you get tired and you start to tell yourself, "Fuck, like why do I feel tired so easy? I'm not even going that hard." And these are the voices. These are the voices that always come in, and you got to kind of tune those out. You got to understand. And I read this line. It says, "Thoughts are just thoughts." You have to accept that and understand that. And I knew no matter what I think, no matter what crosses my mind, it's just something crossing my mind. It's not true. It's not real. Whatever is real is what you make real. So it doesn't have to be real. So I knew that, and that really helped me throughout fight week. For that process, that mental psychological process. And so we get to fight day. Arrive to the arena, only two fighters on the bus, separated. Only two fights show up to the arena. It was really quick, which I liked. They had us arrive. You have your own little locker room, and once you're almost ready to walk out, they take all your belongings out of that locker room so they could sanitize it for the next group of fighters coming in. So, you know, pretty quickly, I go to the bathroom, I take like four shits, you know, gotta drain the system. And then they wrap my hands, and then you warm up, you get your gloves on pretty damn quick. I was warming up for like, 20 minutes, half hour, light little warm up, moving around, and then the first fight's going. So I know heavyweights could be over quick. I got to be ready to go. So that fight ends, and here we go. It was smooth sailing, quick moving. I was at the arena for like an hour and a half, right? T- Till I got there, till I fought. Usually we're at the arena for about 3.5 hours till you fight. And it's a dragged on process where you're kind of like, what do I do? Like, do I walk around? Do I warm up? Do I jump rope? Do I just take a nap? Do I sit down and relax for a little? It's hard to deal with. I like to keep moving. So I like the shorter time span from arrival to fight. But that was nice. You go in there and fight, right? So I'm walking out, these voices, they're coming in, they're talking to me, and I'm telling them, no, I love this shit. Like I'm happy to be here. I'm gonna perform. I'm gonna go out there and have fun and just let loose and just be my best. And then my music hits. I'm walking out first. I love the walkout. The music. I feel it. I get chills. I really connect with the music, and I'm feeling good. And I get in the cage, empty arena. I kind of tuned all that out. It was different, seeing no fans there. I kind of just tried to look straight, focus on the cage, don't worry about nothing else. And I did really good at that. I didn't really take it into consideration, like no fans were there. I just kind of went, got in the cage. Hunter gets in the cage. And then that's when it hit me. Like after Bruce announced us, I'm like, oh shit, like it is quiet in here. Like I can hear like chairs creaking and like voices, conversations going on, like little noises that I'm like, whoa, this is different. And then, I feel that for a second, then I kind of tune that out. Now I'm focused, dialed in on Hunter. I look across the cage. I'm like, he looks strong. He looks big. Fuck. But then, those are the voices. And I say, no, no, I'm fucking big. I'm fucking strong. Let's go, baby. So I say, let's, respect. You want to touch gloves? He goes, no. So I said, okay, okay, reload it. So now I'm like, no fucking touch gloves. We'll see what happens. Karma, motherfucker. No. But yeah, so I go into the fight. First round, always start a little bit slow. Got to work on that part of my game. But what people don't understand is sometimes that's calculated by me. I'm looking for things. I'm feeling things. I'm feeling your power. I'm wing blocking shots. A lot of those shots he hit me with. I mean, look at my face. It was like this after the fight. Little bruise right here. Nothing, nothing. You know what I mean? I'm blocking a lot of these shots. You just hear the slap on my arms. A couple body shots hit me. I felt him. He had good power. He was definitely aggressive, dangerous. But in the fight, I'm calculating. I'm seeing everything. I'm seeing what he's throwing, and I'm noticing. Okay, where does he leave openings and this and that? And I'm not thinking, but I'm just feeling and processing with my eyes, with my vision. And so first round, I might have lost, might have been edged out, but I felt good. And it was kind of funny, man. Weird, funny little things happen in the fight. Like I remember in the first round, he hit me once. His corner goes, "Oh, you got him good there. You broke his nose." And I remember my nose felt like a little swollen, but I was like, I don't feel like my nose is broken. Did he break my nose? And this is in the middle of the fight. I'm thinking this. I'm like, oh shit. So I'm feeling my nose like this. I don't know if you see it, but I'm like, oh man, maybe my nose is broken. What the fuck? All right, focus, keep fighting. So I'm in the first round thinking this shit. And then I see something in the corner of my eye, like in my peripheral right here. And I'm like, oh no, that must be my nose. Like, what is that? So I'm trying to wipe it. Maybe it's a fuzz, maybe it's Vaseline. So I'm going like this in the fight and it's not moving. I still see something right here. So I'm like, oh no, maybe my nose is fucking pointing out like this, like crooked, and I see it in my vision. I'm like, fuck. So first round ends. Cut man comes in, he's sticking these fucking things up my nose. I'm like, you already tested me for corona. What's going on here? You're sticking tubes up me again. Unbelievable. What do they test you mid-fight? No. I'm thinking my nose is broken. So I ask him, I'm like, hey, how's my nose? Is it broke? Or he's like, no, no, no. You just see a little, a little blood, little blood. I'm like, okay, cool. So now I settle back down. I'm catching my breath, listening to my corners, this and that. They're telling me the overhand right's there. I remember that. Second round, I come out fresh, man. I got this swag going on. I'm feeling my range. I'm a little bit closer now to him. I'm starting to land some shots. I'm starting to pop shots out. I'm landing a couple good leg kicks. I land this beautiful overhand right, set it up. Head kick follows. Left hand just misses after. Um, and then we moving around a little bit. I see he's starting to get tired, a little bit more tired. I'm starting to feel fresh. I get better as the fight goes on. So I'm feeling myself. And then boom, he throws an inside leg kick. I kind of parry it out. I dip to my left. And then boom, left hook. His right hand's down. I catch him right on the fucking jaw. I felt it. Like I felt it because I didn't feel it. You know what I mean? Like the perfect punch, you barely even feel. So I'm looking, I'm like, the guy's done. Like I'm like, the guy's done. I don't want to hit you anymore. I don't want to inflict more damage. But I see the ref pull up my peripheral on this side and he's not jumping in. So I got to follow up. So I go in, boom, hammer fist. He's dead, this guy. And then I throw one more and the ref steps in. And that was it, man. And what a beautiful knockout. What a thrilling glorious victory for me. It was a lot of adversity, through training through all the hard times, not knowing the unknown, of how good a shape am I really in. This is different. I didn't get the proper training, but I'm ready to fight. I'm ready to do this. And then to go through adversity in the first round, I lost the round. I felt his power. He hurt me to the body a couple times, but then to come out on top with the big knockout with the bonus. It couldn't have gone any better, man. 2 wins this year. My vision is clear. My mental state is in an amazing place right now. I'm ready to fucking take out everybody they put in front of me. My dream was always to be the best, and I was on my way there and I got shot down. But you know what? I grew and I learned a lot from that. And now I'm ready to go back up to the top because persistency, baby, you don't stop. So here we are. We'll see what happens. Sugar, sugar, sugar. How you get so not fly? Champ. We'll see what they do with that. Let's get to these questions over here. Who do we got? Who do we? Dave Stevenson, congrats on the big win. Thank you, my brother. Great fight and great win. Hella yeah, from Vegas. Vegas, what's up? George O'Connor. How many times were you tested for COVID during fight week? I was tested once. I was tested for the antibodies, then the swab test, but then they did temperature checks every single day. So I thought I was gonna get tested twice, but it was just once. Champ shit only. That's right. That's right, baby. Boom shit only. Lucas Vaughn, congrats on the win. Class performance. Hey, appreciate you, man. This guy is saying EON001. Why the fuck did Uriah weigh in? I thought I missed his fight. No, Uriah weighed in because of a situation with Song Yadong. His visa was possibly going to have issues, so Faber was potentially going to step in. I don't know. It was weird. Is everything paid for by the UFC, like hotel, food, travel expenses? The hotel is paid for me and one of my corners, but I pay for my other 2 corners. Food and all that stuff, they give you a per diem. I believe it was like $700 this time, so they do help you out with that as well. Congrats on the big win, Killer Kim. What's up? Can't believe they had you as an underdog. Best believe I made that money. Hey, man, the guy was undefeated. That was another thing I didn't talk about. Undefeated guys, man, they light a fire underneath me. Like, you never tasted loss before. You think you're going to underestimate me. I'm this veteran that's washed up, blah, blah, blah. Okay, we'll see. I'm still here, man, fresh, ready to kill. So the underdog status doesn't bother me one bit. I don't mind. I make money for my people, Give me 10%. 10 fucking percent. You know what I mean, dog? Congrats on the big win. Make UFC sugar free. Yeah, we're trying to make UFC sugar free, baby. We don't want no diabetes involved. Ryan Moody. Boom, baby. Boom, cashed in. Yes, sir. Beautiful fight, man. Well done. Absolutely beautiful. Thank you. Last thing he saw before the KO was your hands up. Yes, exactly. Exactly. Well, he didn't touch gloves, so I guess it is what it is, right? But no, Hunter was a class act. After the fight, he messaged me on Instagram. It's all respect, I hope he's doing well. He has a baby to take care of. I'm glad he got a bonus as well. Last thing, were you surprised he didn't wrestle more, or did you do something to keep his standing? Well, I wasn't surprised. You know why? Because some of my fights, my striking isn't always shown where it's at. The level of striking that I have is not always displayed. So I think when they watch my fights, they thought, oh, you know, you could take advantage of some striking. You can utilize that low calf kick. I've been caught with that a couple times and not checking kicks, but I got thick ass thighs, man. I could take some leg kicks. So I think maybe they were looking to expose some things on the feet, but I'm a veteran there. I'm calculated there. I'm pretty calm there, and I'm willing to kind of, stay in the pocket and take one to give one. So worked out for me, huh? Besides Sean, who should Brian boom? Who should I hit boom? Who knows, man? Nathaniel Wood wants some. Cody Stammen was talking some shit before this fight, but I haven't heard a fucking peep out of him after. So we'll see what happens with that. But I got multiple options now. That's the good part about this. I set myself up. The contender series killer, baby. Where's O'Malley at? I want those tie-dye shorts too. Casual MMA casual. Hey Brian, did you feel any different in the cage with the lack of training compared to previous fights? If the fight had went longer, would you have slowed? Here's the thing, man. I felt fresher in the second round than I did the first round, and I probably would have felt fresher in the third than I did the second. That's just my mentality. That's just how I fight. I know how to use energy expenditure in the fight and how to display it, and that's part of being a veteran in the game. I know how to utilize my style, my skills, and when to pull the trigger, when to pop shots, when to throw power shots, stuff like that, when to breathe, when to move. Those are things you learn that no one teaches you necessarily. So, no, the was scary because I knew in my head I've trained harder than this. I've had better training than this. I've had more sparring than this. All those things, So you're like, man, what if, what if, what if? But that's the worst thing to think about those things. So I just tuned those out and I just said, go fight, go have fun and go fight your best. That's all you could do. Let your skills take over, let your creativity, your improvisation come in and let it do its thing. So that's what I did, and I could tell you before the fight, yes, I had those thoughts, but during the fight, I felt amazing. I felt fresh, man. I don't know if it was the weight cut thing, the 145, but I felt strong. I felt powerful. I felt like more oomph in my movement. My swag was on. Like everything was great, man. And it's amazing. And that's the crazy thing about fighting is of all the fight camps I've ever had, this was the quote unquote worst, I'd say. But I felt amazing in there. So none of this shit adds up. It's like MMA math. It just doesn't add up. You just got to go in there and perform, man. I always tell people, doesn't matter how you feel now, doesn't matter how you feel weigh-in day. It matters how you feel that 15 minutes, that 25 minutes you're in there. That's it. That's all that matters. Time to maul O'Malley. Boom, baby. Would love to know how you think Cody is going to do versus the tough test in a Sunsao. Oh, that's a good fight, man. I think, Faber was saying Cody looks good in the gym. I've always respected Cody's style. I think he's a really good fighter. I think he has a lot of potential. I think he just gets emotional in there and gets overzealous and gets caught, by really good fighters. You're fighting the best of the best. But I think Cody has a good chance of knocking out a Sun Tzu, hurting him. I think if a Sun Tzu's smart, he's gonna push the wrestling, try to get Cody to the ground and work on some jujitsu. Cody's so fast though; he's so hard to take down. So I'm really interested in that fight. I think Cody said he might move down to 25 too. Would love O'Malley. That's the fight, baby. That's what I'm saying. I mean, I made my case, right? Connor Lodge, Fruity Dead, Left Hook Larry's middle name is Boom. I know, right? Then someone commented and said, no, Left Hook Larry's middle name is Hook. So that was funny. After the high of a big win, do you have a come down or does it fuel you to train harder for the next one? and get that feeling again. Congratulations on the win. Oh, I mean, I was feeling like I was coming down, but hey, fuck them. Bring them back up to the top. We're back up. We're back on the winner's high. No, CBD, guys. All right, relax. Yeah, no. Uh, after the high of a big win, do you have a come down? Yeah, you do. You do. I could already feel it because here's the thing: the work is never done. You know, what's done is done. It's in the past. I'm happy I got the victory, but you know what I feel? Honestly, I feel so much motivation to get better. So much motivation to, get these stitches out of my foot and start running again and start getting myself in better shape, getting back in the gym, getting the proper training, getting more drill sparring rounds and working more on my skills and my game. Like I'm so motivated for that. That's what a big victory does for me. I don't harp on it too much. I watched the fight a couple times. It's cool to see the knockout, but for me, the main thing is to keep progressing and to understand that your work is never done. You got to keep evolving and you got to keep growing because that's what all these young up and comers are doing. So you can't fall behind. Also, when you and James Lynch linking up again, hey, shout out to James Lynch, the man. He was saying I should get the Fisherman New York Islander color shorts. I know he has a good idea there. It's not a bad idea, but we'll see. I think the tie dye kind of throws a little shade towards O'Malley, but yeah, tell James Lynch, holler at me. I love working with James and breaking down the fights. I would love to do that now. I got even more free time, so let's do it. So let's get to some Twitter questions. I know I had some Twitter questions here, and then we'll get out of here, man. Um, Jonathan Napolitano, the old school best friend growing up. We had a lot of laughs, my friend. I miss you, buddy. Did the short notice benefit you easier mentally? That's a good question. I honestly, it's hard to tell you. All I could say is that the short notice, it does give like a feel of like, fuck it. Don't even overthink nothing. Just go fight, because you don't have time for that anticipation to grow and grow and grow. Sometimes when you have a long ass camp, which I don't prefer, I prefer to have about 5 weeks to prepare for a fight. Reason being is because usually I'm always in the gym anyways. I'm always in like pretty good shape. I'm always almost in fight shape, and I just need a couple of tweaks to get in that peak fight shape. And that takes me about 3 to 4 weeks. And then you get the last week to kind of weight cut and dial back down and peak. So, you know, the short notice for me was nothing. I was like, hey, let's go do what you do. Let's just roll off that win in January. You've been training twice a day. Just my weight was heavier. I was strong. I was in good shape, but I was just heavier. It was really about the weight cut that I was like, hey, I can't make 135. But mentally, psychologically, I've put myself in a good place where, you stay unfazed and you can't let anything get in there and scramble that shit up. So I try to stay in that place of confidence and calm and enjoyment, enjoying the process. And I try to just keep myself there no matter what. And I take that into the fight. What else we got? Twitter. Smokey JMMA. What's next, dude? Another fight at featherweight or back down to bantamweight? That's part one of his question. I'm gonna go back down to bantamweight. Featherweight was well, who knows? Maybe this is quarantine weight for me. If the gyms stay closed and we got to keep training like this, and my weight keeps staying in the 160s, which it is right now, then maybe we fight other bantamweights at 145. It's just what we got to do at this time. I know they did that with the Chito Vera Song Yadong fight, a couple other fights they did that with. I mean, these are the circumstances right now. You got to have understanding. So I think right now the UFC, is doing a great job. Thank you to them for making the fight at 145 and allowing us to keep fighting like this, with these circumstances, because we're fighters. This is our job. We still want to go to work and provide and make money for the future. So I'm gonna fight at 145 if it's another bantamweight all day. But if they start to get more strict, I'm gonna go back down to my weight class and try to work on my walk around weight and get back down to bantamweight. He said, "What felt the most different for you in the cage fighting up a weight class?" Power, and just Power and strength, I would say, are 2 things definitely felt difference. And then you got Terrence Singleton over here sending me the tiger's eye stones. He has one. There we go. Tiger's eye is always welcome in the Kelleher realm. Uh, what else we got here? I know we had a couple more on Twitter. I see you guys going off still over here. Um, here we are. At GD6ILLY on Twitter. Does a Chito Vera rematch make sense? I mean, I always say this. I like Chito. He's a cool dude. I saw him at the fight. It's always respect with him. We talk. We say hello. Of course, I'd love. He's gotten a lot better too. I'd love to fight him again. Get that loss back. He's coming off a loss. I'm coming off a win. I mean, my focus right now is the O'Malley fight, and if I can't get that fight, then we got to do what we got to do. But that's the focus right now. Ivan Dino, what will be your game plan for O'Malley? Oh, my game plan for O'Malley? Hold on a second. It's my game plan for O'Malley right here. That's the fucking game plan. Smoke his ass. Smoke his fucking ass. Slick Diaz, what's up, my brother? Great fight. Boom. At Metal Overload 87, just subscribed. Oh, thank you. My question is, other than the obvious lack of noise, what were the main differences between fighting in front of a large crowd and no crowd? Well, like you said, the lack of noise, really it was just eerie. Here's some big differences. Was I heard my corners crystal clear, I heard his corners crystal clear. You can kind of feel the intimacy of the fight better. You can see if you hurt your opponent more. You can hear him breathing better. You can kind of hear the commentators, the people around the cage. I didn't hear them too clear. I was in the zone. I'm very focused on my corners. My brother's voice, stands out to me very clear. Does a great job at giving me instructions, so I try to pay attention. Other than that, man, the only thing is to get a knockout like that with no fans. Like I was robbed of that fucking roar of the crowd. That is amazing. That's the one thing I wish. I wish I could hear a crowd during that knockout. That would be amazing. But other than that, I really enjoyed the experience. I really like the intimacy of it, like I said, and hearing my corners and all that. It was a really cool experience. I'm glad I got it out of the way because I'm probably gonna have to do it a bunch more times before fans are allowed in the arenas. So it was good experience to get in, and now I'm prepared for it. I know what it feels like, and it isn't really a big deal. I believe that's it on Twitter. Sean Stewart, what's up, brother? Congrats on the knockout, top 10. Boom. Hey, thanks. I don't know about the rankings, man. These things are all messed up, but hopefully, I beat O'Malley. They got to put me in that top 10. I mean, come on. O'Malley won't take the fight. Yeah. We'll see. Like I said, if he's not scared, he'll take it. Hope that 50K made for no crowd screaming. Yeah, definitely. Choose the 50K over the crowd. That's for sure. Justin Dempsey, champ. I have a YouTube channel. Well, about 12. Interview my UFC. Would love to interview you. Hey, shoot me a DM on Instagram or something like that. We'll work it out, my brother. Keep working hard. Bull Roar MMA podcast. What do you think of the criticism of Anthony Smith's corner being too frenetic, making him work too much? I don't know, man. They said he had veneers, so that was the whole teeth thing, falling out. They said it's happened before. He took a lot of damage, and honestly, it's on the ref too. The ref could have stepped in earlier. That's what I feel. Um, his corner knows him better than anyone else. Mark Montoya is a great corner, but yes, he's had incidences where he's let fights go on very long, with I forget the guy's name, but it was another guy from that gym that he was cornering that was taking an absolute beating for 3 rounds. And now it happened to Anthony Smith, but guys got to understand the other side is the money. You get paid double when you win fights. Your life changes when you win big fights like that. And if there's a chance, there's a chance. There's always a comeback chance, unless you're out cold. So it's like coaches don't want to steal that from you, man. You know, that's going to cause maybe some friction, and maybe that's going to upset the fighter. Maybe the fighter tells the coach, listen, let me go out on my shield. I don't care, you know, and what are you going to do? You know, he's a grown man. He makes his own decisions. So I can't criticize too much. I know Mark Montoya is a very knowledgeable guy, well-spoken guy, well thought out coach in the game. And I like him a lot. You know, I do think the fight could have been stopped though a little bit earlier. You know, it is what it is. But hey, thank you guys for tuning in. Appreciate it. It was nice to kind of do it different this time and just talk normal about my whole experience with the fight and everything like that. Hopefully, we got fights coming up soon. I believe it's going to be May 30th, the next one, or and then June 6th. So we'll do some boom breakdowns, some fight picks, some stuff like that. Maybe some bets, talk some betting. If you guys subscribe to my channel, that would really help. You know, give it a thumbs up, share it. That would be awesome. I appreciate all the loyal fans, all the people that support me and stick behind me throughout the wins and the losses. Boom.